Welcome back for the second part of today's lesson. Hopefully you've had the opportunity to remind yourselves about our chicken tikkas, our naan breads, our rices, and also the squiggly rest that reminds us there's a beat silence. We're going to use everything that we've been learning so far and apply it to a longer piece of music called West Side. We're going to look at the first half of West Side today, just the first 4 lines, possibly just the first 2 lines to begin with. So if you look at this, we can see that we have an F written underneath the first line and a P written underneath the second. They're going to tell us how loud or how quiet we're going to be performing. So F is short for forte, which is an Italian word which means loud, and P is short for piano, which is an Italian word that means quiet. And when we have loud and quiet contrast in our music, we call that using dynamics. And dynamics are really important to help our music stay interesting and to stop it from being boring, especially on something like West Side that was written for just one drum. So it's just a percussion piece. And if we didn't have loud dynamics and quiet dynamics in it, it wouldn't be half as interesting as it might be. So the reason that we use Italian words is that the Italians were one of the first people to write down music. So they wrote a lot of music and they used F and P for their language. If it had been English people that wrote lots of music first, then we might have L for loud and Q for quiet. But as it stands, we need to remember what F and P means. So if I was to read through the first 2 lines of West Side, I'm going to use a louder voice, a louder dynamic when we've got an F or forte, and I'm going to use a quieter dynamic when it says P for piano. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Off I go. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, rice, 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 naan bread, rice, naan bread, rice. You see how that works with our louder dynamics and our quieter dynamics? And sometimes compare these to animals or a pet shop where you might have an animal that's this big, like a small dog, that would be louder than an animal that's this big, like a hamster or a mouse, that might not make as much noise, might have a quieter dynamic. Okay, let's see if we can read through both those first 2 lines together using our dynamics. Off we go. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, rice, 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 naan bread, rice, naan bread, rice. Very good. And if we look at the next 2 lines now, that letter A at the beginning of this next line is just a little bit of a signpost or a milestone. It just tells us whereabouts in the music we are. It's a bit like having chapters in a book or a novel. So if you wanted to start reading from chapter 5, or in this case, we could start reading from letter A. So it's just so you know where we're starting from if you had the whole piece of music in front of you. So letter A starts in a similar way. It's forte, and it has chicken tikkas and naan breads in it. But this next line, as well as being back to piano, has got our friends the squiggly rests in there. So we need to remember to observe the rests when we get there. So here comes letter A, forte to start with. Off we go. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka rice. Chicken tikka naan bread, rice. Naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, rice. Okay, I get the feeling that we're all beginning to feel comfortable with this now. So I think we can try all of the first half of West Side together. I'm not going to do the hands anymore now. I'm going to see if you can remember when it's loud and when it's quiet. So let's just decide on our pulse or how fast we're going to be going. Here's our tempo. We can all feel the same pulse and we know what our tempo is. Ready, steady, off we go. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, rice, 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 naan bread, rice. Naan bread, rice. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka rice. Chicken tikka naan bread, rice. Naan bread, rice. Hope you got used to following those rests as well. Let's see if we can do the same thing, again just our words, and we'll see what it sounds like with a little bit of an ostinato, which is now going on in the background. I'm going to see if I can make it a little bit louder. And if I try and find the pulse here, that's how fast it's going. Little bit quicker, slightly faster tempo than the last one we did, but I'm sure we can manage it. So with our dynamics, loud and quiet, look out for the rests in the last line. Let's try these first 4 lines one more time. Ready, steady, up we go. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, rice, 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 naan bread, rice, naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, rice. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka rice, chicken tikka naan bread, rice, naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, rice. That felt quite fast to me. Just to remind you, on all of these videos you can pause them and you can rewind them and try little sections again, and you can also find the little dial that should be down in the bottom corner somewhere, and that might be that corner. You'll find it, and that can slow down the speed of the whole lesson. So if you want me to talk a little bit slower, or you want to try some of the music a little bit slower, that works there. Don't be tempted just to put me on double speed to have a laugh, because you might not learn anything then. Perhaps once you've learnt it and you've stopped and gone a bit slower a few times, you can then try it at super speed and see what happens then. So that felt a little bit quick, so I'm just going to see if I can adjust the tempo on here. So let's find our pulse. And if I slow this down, it gets a little bit more relaxed. Still sounds good. And let's try adding the words back in with this slower tempo. Ready, steady, up we go. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, rice, 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 naan bread, rice, naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, rice. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka rice, chicken tikka naan bread, rice. Naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, rice. Very good. That's always an important lesson to learn, and it's a lesson that I am still learning myself. It's always worth trying a slower tempo first, and it'll help the music to be learned quicker. So in some ways, it's a bit like learning to walk before you learn to run. So the first time we went through that, I chose a tempo that was a little bit too quick. So it might have been a bit of a challenge. So now that we've tried it slower, it will be easier to do it faster next time round. We're now going to move on to the next section, which is going to be the same music, but we're going to use some different parts of our bodies instead of just of our voices. So I'm going to use hands on my laps, hands on my legs for chicken tikkas. I'm going to play naan bread on the floor by stamping my feet, and I'm going to clap my hands for a rice. Excuse me. So the first line would sound like this, of I go, bread, chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to go a little bit slower, and we'll see if we can go through these first 4 lines together. Need to remember about the dynamics, remember about the rests, and the dynamics can get a little bit more challenging when we're playing quietly, because we have to do things like naan bread really quietly with our feet and rice coming up here. Okay, let's give it a go. From the beginning, I'll try in a slower tempo. Ready, steady, everybody goes. Very good. And using our repeated pattern from a moment ago, which was this drum machine app of mine that has a pattern that goes round and round, making an ostinato. I found a slower tempo. Let's just remind ourselves what that one was. This is 70 beats per minute. That's how fast it's telling me it's going. So let's see if we can go through the same again. Our patterns using chicken tikas, naan bread and rices, and the dynamics for these first 4 lines. Starting on our hands, ready, steady, up we go. Chicken tikka, chicken tikka. Very good. Okay, going to try one final challenge. So that was 70 beats per minute. I think we can have a go at 84 beats per minute. I'm just going to readjust the drum machine and see if I can find 84 beats per minute, and we'll have a listen to it, see how scary it sounds. Again, thinking about our words, they will go this speed. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, rice, naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, rice. Okay, so it will be a little bit more challenging, but let's give it a go. We'll do it twice. First time we'll do it with the words, and then I'm going to press my mute button and just try making all of the rhythm sounds with the slaps, the stamps and the claps. Okay, so hands on words, ready, steady, up we go. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread, rice, naan bread, naan bread, naan bread, rice. Chicken tikka naan bread, chicken tikka naan bread. Okay, the words nearly went there anyway, so let's make sure I'll remember to switch my words off. I'm going to find the pulse. Sometimes when I switch the words off and put them in my head, I actually say them louder in my head. So I think them louder than I was just saying them. That can really help us stay in time together and to make the right choices with our music. Okay, here we go. We're feeling brave. Good. Ready, steady, off. Well done. Hopefully you're beginning to enjoy this as much as I am. So in our next lesson we will look through the second half of West Side. That's the next 4 lines, and then we'll piece the whole thing together, and we'll try doing our versions again of reading just the words, and we will also add in our body percussion, and then we'll have a think about some other things that we might be able to play the whole piece on. See you next time.